This edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Smile, the makers of the brand new PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, as well as PDF Pen, PDF Pen Pro, PDF Pen for iPhone, PDF Pen for iPad, Text Expander Touch, and Disc Label. Find out more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. Welcome to the Mac Jury on Mac Voices. This is the Talk of the Mac community. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is the third panel in our holiday gift guide giving and getting series. We decided to do it, as I told you earlier, yeah, that's good. As I told you earlier, we decided to do these in a little shorter time space, little tighter panels to give you more ideas instead of trying to pack them all in one, because our panelists always have such great picks. So this is number 3, and you won't see any duplicates. You'll just see a lot of great new ideas. So let's go around and find out who is here this time. First up, this always feels very strange, but I'm going to do it anyway. One of the Angry Mac Bastards, Kelly. It's good to have you.
It's nice to be on the show, and I do other stuff, so you don't have to limit it to that if there's something else you'd rather say. Well,
but that just feels that feels like it grabs people's attention, you know.
Yeah.
So what are some of the
I think
other
also
things?
It's the mismatch of saying Angry Mac Bastard and then you get curly hair and freckles. So I think that probably helps too.
Exactly. So what are some of the other things when you're not being an Angry Mac Bastard?
Let's see. The rest of the time I do a podcast on the British Tech Network. I do the Mac Show, and I also do the Comic Show, where we talk about comic books. And I write and occasionally host over at Tua, the podcast there, and occasionally write things for the website. And my day job is at AgileBits, where I do support and documentation for 1Password.
Great. A great program. No question.
Saved my life.
All right. The voice you're hearing, and who Kelly just saved his life, is Mr. Chuck Tournous.
Kelly saves my life all the time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Chuck, it's great to see you. And of all the days for me not to wear a tie, we could have had a record here with 2 ties on the show.
This was your one shot at it, because this is probably the first and only time you'll ever see me wear a tie on the MacJury. But, you know, set your VCRs and enjoy it while you can, I guess.
Well,
I can't set my VCR. It just blinks 12.
Yeah. Well, we will have to plot on that. Chuck, where do you hail from these days? What are you up to?
Oh, I'm still out here in the boondocks of Hunterdon County, you know, chasing deer and living off the land, that kind of stuff. It's the only part in New Jersey that has these things. So.
Okay.
But other things that I do, I'm a contributing editor for the Mac Observer, where lately I've been writing a lot of reviews, so I'm glad to be able to have the chance to talk about some of the things that I've been reviewing lately. And you'll even get a couple sneak peeks of things that I'm working on now but haven't published the reviews for as my picks. And that's kind of the extent of it lately.
Cool. That's okay. That's you could do a lot worse than be associated with TMO, no question about it. Well, next up, Mr. Michael Johnston, who does a lot of things. I tend to know him as the guy who has a certain podcast, but I think you've been up to something else, Michael. Did I hear something else about a new project?
Sure, yeah. It's Appler at getappler.com, GETAPPLR.com. And it's a site for social app discovery for iOS stuff. So you follow your friends and see the apps they like and share the apps you like. And I also do the We Have Communicators podcast, where we talk about all things iOS. And I occasionally write for the Mac Observer as well.
That's pretty full plate. This is a very distinguished panel. Well, maybe not.
Kelly.
The accomplishments are distinguished. Well, guys, it's the holiday season, and as you know, we've been trying to give our listeners and viewers some good ideas and occasionally the very unique and unusual idea for holiday gift giving. Frankly, a lot of times it ends up about being what we would like to get, but that's okay too, because it's still ideas. Kelly, how about if we do as we always do, ladies first, and let you start us out?
Okay. I did notice that you guys had a pic of the Rode Podcaster microphone, and the going rate on those is about $200. $2 to $230, I think, was right in there when I looked them up. And so I'm going to make an alternate suggestion for people who maybe have a little lower budget price point in mind, and that is the Blue microphone. Blue makes the Nessie microphone, which is the one I'm using right now, and they also make the Yeti microphone. And the Yeti is a very old style sort of, it kind of looks like you'd see it on a desk of a talk show, very retro form factor. They're both USB, and they're both very groovy, and they're both right around $100. So if you are looking to get into something and don't necessarily have $200 to drop, if you have about half that budget, you can always do one of these. They don't mount on the arm like the Rhodes do, which for people who need that, it's super cool. But neither of these has a very large footprint on the desk, and so I've never had trouble with either one of them. You just plug it in and off you go, and they sound really good.
Yeah, Blue mics are very, very good mics, no question about it. Of course, Chuck, I'm not sure. What are you using? And Michael, what are you using? I don't recognize either one.
I'm using an AKG Perception. It's an XLR mic, a traditional studio mic, and then I have it connected to my Mac. Actually, right now it's via an iRig Pro, which may or may not be one of my picks. We'll see.
Okay.
But it's a very good device from the good folks at IK Multimedia, who are just on fire with good products lately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, what's yours?
The mic I'm using is a Behringer C1, and I got it as part of a kit for podcasting maybe 3 or 4 years ago. That also came with a little mixer, like a 4-channel mixer and a FireWire interface. So I think the whole thing together was $100. So it's nothing fancy at all, but it works great for me.
Yeah, it sounds
and
great.
mine's not in the shot at the moment, so I'll just show you what mine looks like.
Oh, yeah, that is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And the head pivots,
great.
so it's very cool.
Yeah, it sounds great. Good pick. Good pick. Something a little more affordable maybe than the Rhodes. So.
Yeah.
Chuck, since you have the tie, we have to respect the tie.
Well, I'll follow up on Kelly's. Yeah, thank you. I'll follow up on Kelly's pick, and her pick gets sound into your computer, and my pick gets sound out of it. It's the AJ's 4 earbud set, which is not brand new. It's been out for about a year or so, I think, but it's been by far the best set of earbuds that I've ever used. And earbuds are all over the place. There are 1,000 of them, and it's very tempting to just go up to the rack in Best Buy and pick a pair of $20 earbuds because they look cool. They have a nice, packaging or whatever. But my sons do that occasionally, and you wind up going through them just so fast. So in the span of a couple months, you're going to spend more than you would on a good set. So the AJ's 4 are only $80 now, I think, retail, and you can find bargains on them around. But what I like, a couple things that I like about them. One is that the cables are flat, so that it makes them not exactly tangle proof, but very tangle resistant. And I don't know about you, but if I put a traditional set of earbuds in my pocket, within 30 seconds, they're going to become a Gordian knot, right? That I have to cut in order to get back apart. These things, no matter what I do to them, just a little gentle pull will just make them magically unravel and look brand new again. So for me, that's ideal. Another thing that I like about them is while they're not, they don't claim to be noise canceling. In my experience, they pretty much are. They have a very nice fit, and they come with an assortment of earbud pads, so it'll fit a variety of ear sizes. But they have a nice snug fit, and they tend to drown out the other noise. So I use them on airplanes instead of my old noise canceling electric headphones that I used to use, and I hear everything perfectly. And the sound quality is just phenomenal, from high range, high end to low end, and everything in between. Very, very happy with them. Like I said, only $80. You're going to go through that kind of money in a matter of months if you buy cheap earphones anyway. So just get the good ones and be done with it, and your giftee will be happier for it.
Chuck, just to be sure, these are just straight earphones. They're not iPhone compatible, as in they don't have a mic or anything.
I'm glad they do have a mic.
They do have a mic. Okay.
They do have the full remote, and unfortunately, I can't show them to you because I can't find them after my last trip. They're in my luggage somewhere, I think.
But we know they're not tangled.
Yeah.
They're not tangled wherever they are. But if you can see there is a little remote control with a microphone in it, so you can do all the traditional stuff you do with the Apple supplied headphones too.
Okay.
So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. No, very nice. Very nice. And I agree with you completely. That you can go through a lot of cheap earphones and they end up costing you a lot of money. The best thing to do is find a good pair that you like that fit, and then try to take just a little better care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael, that takes us to you for the first round. What do you got?
So my first pick is the automatic, and it's a little adapter for your car. So you plug it into yep, you got it.
I'll show it. I'll be your Vanna White.
Perfect, because I don't have one, but I really want one. But I've always been fascinated with the fact that my car has a computer in it, and you can interface with it and get a bunch of information from it. And I've played with other adapters that link your car to your iPhone in the past. This one seems to be the best one because it's an all-in-one solution. You get the software and the hardware. So it plugs into your car's OBD2 port. So if it's, I think, 1996 or later, typically you're going to have one of these ports. And the app provides you with tons of awesome information, such as driving suggestions to help you save gas. It helps you keep track of trips so you know what your average mile per gallon is. It also lets you, whenever you get an engine code, when you get the little check engine light on your car, it'll tell you right there what the engine code is, and if it knows what the engine code is, then it'll actually translate that for you. And if you want, you can even clear the codes with the thing. And another thing that it can do is contact authorities or other people that you've had set up in the app if you get into a crash with the thing plugged in. And it's very cool. I really want one, and I'm sure Chuck can attest to its awesomeness.
It is very awesome for all the reasons that you just talked about. I have now 3 kids who are all driving, and the idea of having this device in their car, so in case they do get into an accident, I know that the authorities will be alerted right away, and I'll be alerted right away, is, really gives you a lot of peace of mind. And it also tells you where you're parked.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
So it's an automatic thing. As soon as you get out of your car, it knows that you've stopped it there, and when you get back and you're searching for it, it knows where you parked it.
So, Chuck, why is it in your office right now instead of in the car?
Because it was going to be one of my picks for the show.
Okay. Got me back. I'm doing a review of it right now. So I've been using it for the past few weeks, and I think it's phenomenal. It has the companion app that comes with it for the iPhone is just beautifully designed, integrated really well. It's I think Michael mentioned it's $100, and just that crash alert feature alone will cost you more than that every year if you get it through your card service like an OnStar or something. The insurance industry is starting to push these little, I'll use the term dongles. They're not really, but it's close enough, that you plug in. And of course, they want to track all your information about when you drive, where you drive, how many miles you drive, and all those things. I'm not a big fan of that. I understand why it may raise or lower your premiums and why it's probably a more accurate reflection. It just feels like I'm giving something up. But this, I wasn't aware of this. This is a cool little device. It sounds like you get a lot of the same information, but you keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Very nice. How much? What kind of price is it, Michael?
It's $100.
$100. Okay.
Automatic.com.
Great. Thank you. Good pick.
Yep.
Good pick. Well, I'm going to start off with an unusual pick, I think, but I need to explain it. All right. But I'm going to suggest that you go to Amazon and pick any season of the TV show Good Eats and buy the DVD. Okay. Now, it's a cooking show, right? Fine. So you'll learn something about cooking. But Alton Brown is the host, he changed the face, I think, of cooking shows. But what's cool about Alton is that these aren't just the, boil the water, then dump the rice, then dump the beans in and go. Alton's background is in video and photography and movie making and all. So if you want to watch the first time through for the cooking, great. Watch the second time through for the video production and the crazy gimmicks that they used every season to communicate this stuff. Look at the camera angles. He was the first person, I believe, to ever put a camera in a refrigerator so that, when he opens the door, there he is, and you're like inside the refrigerator. This is a study in cooking. It's a study in communication. It's a study in filmmaking. It's just, there's so many great things about this. Plus, it's just flat out entertaining. So you can find a number of the episodes on YouTube. But there's nothing like, I think, having the collection for yourself, even if you want to rip them off and put them on your Mac and then send them over to your Apple TV. But it's just a great thing, and I think you will be surprised at how entertaining you find it. And yet, if you step back and realize just what you can learn from it beyond cooking, it will impress you. And Kelly, I saw you clapping, so I assume that I need with your approval?
Absolutely. I have like a super TV crush on Alton Brown because the best bit about that show is that it gives you the why of the cooking. So like in the chocolate chip cookie episode, he talks about if you use this much butter and this much flour, this is the chemical reaction that happens, and that's why they're flat and crispy. And if you want cakey cookies, then you do this and then that, because then the protein molecules do this, and then bam, fluffy. And if you want chewy cookies, you do this other thing. And the best thing about that was after watching that, because I watch them all at least like twice when I sit down and flip through them. I was watching it and really enjoyed it, and then later I was making something else and like some other sort of batter or dough, and it was coming apart and I couldn't figure out what to do, and I thought, oh wait, Alton told me how to fix this. And so when you put in more butter, things stick together better, and so I added another little slap of butter to it, and bam, everything was good again. And so that's the thing that I like about his show, is it's not just here's how to make a delicious something, it's here's what makes it delicious. And then he's got Shirley on, who does all the history and the cultural pieces of like where the different kinds of food come from, or the cocktails, which was a really good episode too. And like all of the why, and like there's sort of all this other ancillary information that happens to have a recipe at the heart of it. And so that's why I like it. Plus he's a big Mac nerd, and that makes me really happy.
Yeah, I was going to say he spends a lot of time in front of a nice big iMac on Iron Chef America, so you kind of know. But it's interesting, yeah, because I almost overlooked the chemistry part. This is just a geeks cooking show, but it's an entertaining geeks cooking show.
Because he started as a TV person, he was a TV guy, and then went, I think, in order to make good TV, I'm going to make a cooking show. And so then he went to culinary school and learned to cook so he could be. So it started as a television approach, and then decided it would be cooking, as opposed to I'm a chef and I'm going to make a TV show, and so now I have to learn TV production.
Yeah. And I can't say I have a TV crush on him because that wouldn't be appropriate, but I'm a big fan, so yeah.
Well, it's like one of my favorite shows. Like, you can tell as soon as you said Good Eats, I started smiling. It makes me really happy. I recommend it to people all the time. And I recommend it specifically to people who are more technologically minded, because the why of it is the part that always hooks me. And so it's really nice to have that it's really nice to have that in a cooking show, not just here are the steps.
And he knows how to do it in a way that makes it fun. He's sort of like a Soupy Sales of cooking shows. The zaniness, the puppets, it's all great, and it makes it interesting. Really pulls you in. Like Kelly said, it's more than just the recipe. It's more than just okay, now I know how to make this kind of chocolate chip cookie. He gives you the information that lets you kind of go off and do things on your own and experiment and really understand what's going on. Yeah, I'm a fan too.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I mean, it goes to show you that you can do things with props, and you don't have to be like deadly serious with them. That something doesn't. It has to just remind you of what it is. And Johnny Carson's old line: "You buy the premise, you buy the bit." Well, as soon as you buy Alton Brown's premise, the bit works every time. So yeah, good series. But just to be fair, there are 13. I think it's 13 or 14 seasons. So if once you buy one, I think you're going to be hooked. So it may. And
there are collections, I think, too, where you can get.
Yeah, so
like all the cookies or whatever, things like that.
So all kind of things. But yeah, go check it out. Good Eats with Alton Brown. So that's round one. So Kelly, how about if we start again with you for round 2 and see what you got?
Okay. I'm going to choose now. This is sort of a two-part pick because I'm choosing the one that I have in front of me right now. But any product from this line is fantastic. And I have a 5S, my little Hoth phone here, and the case I have for it is probably not going to show up as well on the camera as I wanted to. But it's a case by a company called Grove that's right here in Portland. And this is a collaboration with Maple XO. And so if you see all the little stripes here, those are bits of skateboard. Oh. Right? So they squish pieces of like the extra out of skateboards together, and they make this case. And mine has a black bezel. They make it with a white bezel as well, if that's what you prefer. And Grove is a company, grovemade.com is their website. And Grove generally makes awesome things out of bamboo. They have iPad cases, and they have some very thin, flexible backs that you can get for the back of your laptop. They will customize a cutout for you if you want something to let the logo through. And everything they make right here in Portland. It's really fantastic. So these cases, as soon as the 5 came out in the new taller form factor, they make everything right here. So all they did was go downstairs, recalibrate the machines. I know they actually went downstairs and recalibrated the machines because I've been there, and so I've seen it's down like 2 flights of stairs. And they calibrate a couple of machines with new measurements, and now they're making iPhone 5 cases, where yesterday they were making iPhone 4 cases. And they will laser engrave on the bamboo cases. They can laser engrave a design on the back for you. So if you need a Mac Observer case, or you need a MacVoices case, or you just have some piece of art that you really like, and they've also worked with some local artists to put other cool designs on the backs of the cases. And the bamboo ones are amazing. I have a felt sleeve with bamboo wrapped around it for my iPad, and anything they make, if it's something that you're into, it's very, very thoughtfully designed, and it's very, very well made. And my favorite thing that they have out right now, I love my case. My favorite thing they have out right now is a dock that will hold the case that I have, or a lot of cases, it's got a nice open hole, but you get to choose the cable that runs through the base to pop up. So if you're like my house, where one of us has a 4S still, which uses the 30-pin connector, but someone else has a 5, which uses the lightning connector, then if the dock changes hands, or if somebody else were to upgrade and now everything is lightning, all you have to do is unwind the cable and wind in the new cable, and now your dock is useful again, as opposed to all the ones where you sort of chose 30-pin and now you're stuck. So
very nice. What kind of pricing, Kelly?
This case is, I want to say $99. I think the bamboo cases are $79. And then I'm totally blanking on the pricing for the dock. But let me see if I can grab it really quick, because they're...
I think it's $100 for the dock.
I want to say it's $99. Yeah. So, yeah, it's $99. And what it is a machined metal base with bamboo around the top. So you pull off the top and put in the cable that you want, and then close it again. And it's really solid, and it stays on your desk, and just works. It's all the great stuff about that you like out of technology. It just works. It does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Very nice. Good. Thank you. It seems like every show there has to be at least one case pick. Yeah, it's just the nature of it. Chuck, how about if we stick with this the same order and let you go second on the second round?
Sure. I'll even stay in the same vein. I'll do a couple case picks, but I'm going to take it in a little different direction from Kelly. I generally go commando with my iPhone, and I always buy the same iPhone Kelly buys. So now I have the 5S Hoth version too.
I'm glad. You scared me there for a second, Chuck. I wasn't sure if you were going to... I'm glad you said with the iPhone.
That's all we'll talk about tonight.
After dark. Yeah.
I was going to say, look at the web version for extra content, but this is the web version. So I do spend a fair amount of time outdoors. I like camping and hiking and geocaching and all that kind of stuff. And I know that was a big shock to you at first, Chuck, but hopefully you're over it now.
Although now, no, never mind. There's a loincloth joke somewhere, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, thank you. On behalf of all of us, thank you. So, one of the things I want to make sure of is while I'm out in the wilderness and, climbing up mountains and going through forests and all that kind of stuff, is that my phone doesn't drop and hit a rock and crash into a million pieces or fall in a stream and get ruined. So I buy these really generally ugly, big, giant cases, but have a lot of protection. This one is from Griffin Technologies, one of my favorite companies. They make a lot of great stuff. This is called the Survivor, and it's got multiple layers of protection in here. It's got a silicone outer shell, it's got a hard plastic inner shell, and it's got a screen protector on the front of it too, with all the doors so that you can still access the ports and things like that. So it's not waterproof, but it is water resistant, so you can go out in the rain with it. And I would have no worries about throwing this thing down a mountain with my phone in it. It's that solid. It gives you that much protection. So that's about $50. So I think it's a fairly good price for something that gives you that much protection. They also make a version for the iPad, which runs $80. And then there's another company called LifeProof that puts out similar cases, but where they specialize in things that are truly waterproof. So if you want to take your iPhone underwater and do underwater photography with it, you can do that with their case. What I'm going to show you is the case that they have for the iPad, though. It's called the Nude Case. Make your loincloth joke here again if you want.
I'm just stunned. I'm just staying out of it.
Well, it goes. It's a two-piece case. Snaps in the front and back of your iPad. It's got these little sort of silicone O-rings, sort of that keep everything waterproof. The thing that freaked me out about this case, though, is there is no screen protector. That's why they call it the Nude. And intellectually, I can understand that, yes, glass is non-permeable and it's waterproof and all that, but just the idea of there's nothing covering the front of my iPad when I bring it underwater was still a leap of faith. But I did it just for the sake of this show, Chuck. Just for you. I put my iPad at risk and tried it out, and it works great. It does keep all the water out, makes your phone, phone or iPad perfectly functional, and you can really use it to take some great underwater photos. So this thing runs, it's a little more pricey. It's $130 for the iPad version and $90 for the iPhone version. So that's by LifeProof, and the Survivor series is by Griffin.
Chuck, the Griffin, I have to say, I noticed it was also bright orange, which would be very advantageous if it drops anywhere. So I assume that's one of the features of the case.
That is. Yep.
Do the LifeProof cases have any kind of guarantee? And I'm not. We can make a lot of jokes, but I'm not, because you're right. That would be quite a leap of faith. Do they promise or guarantee that you will be safe doing this?
They do. I'm not exactly sure how you'd go about proving that you didn't put the case on wrong, though. But they do have a fairly exhaustive instructional video and instructions on the cases itself. It not only comes with the case, and I told you, there's no cover on the case. They do have a test cover so that you can snap it all together over this test cover and put it in water without your iPad in it, to ensure that you've done it correctly and you've learned how to do it correctly. So presumably, when it's your iPad in there and not this test cover, you'll also do it correctly.
Wow.
But yeah, it is guaranteed. But again, your lawyers and their lawyers would have to fight it out, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's what a great idea. Sort of give you a pilot to try before risking your iPad or iPhone. Great idea. Okay, very interesting picks, Chuck. Interesting picks. Michael, what do you got?
Okay, so I'm going to stay with the cases, and my favorite for the iPad Air is the Belkin Shield Sheer Matte case, and you can see it here. It almost doesn't look like it's on there. It's just it's a simple plastic case for the iPad Air, and the best thing, the one thing that I look for in my iPad cases is that it has this little spot here where you can actually attach a smart cover. because I love the smart cover features, the fact that I can turn it on and off with the thing and prop it up with the nice little triangle. But I want to keep the rest of it nice and protected, especially because the smart cover allows me to take it off whenever I don't want it. So that's what I look for in a case. And the first case I picked up at Best Buy when I got my iPad Air was awful. I went back and exchanged it for this thing, and it's great. It's like the name implies, it's matte, and the feel of this it's really smooth. So it's just a really nice, simple case, and it feels really nice in your hand, and it does all the things that I want it to, and it's $30, and it comes in black. It's a translucent black or a mostly transparent clear. So for the black or the white, or however you want to mix it up.
Very nice, affordable case. I like that a lot. Well, mine, I'm going to reach around here and get mine. I don't know if you've seen these or not. This is the Logitech K760 keyboard.
Ooh.
Now, you might say, what's the big deal about a keyboard? Well, there are a couple things. First of all, it's wireless. I'll do like Michael. First of all, it's wireless. You have so you don't have any cables. Well, Apple does that too. But second thing, up along the top, you can see a set of solar panels, which is how the keyboard gets charged. So you don't have any batteries. Since the day I took it out of its case, I've never had to consciously place it in bright sunlight or anything. Just the normal light from my office keeps it more than charged.
Wow.
But here's the other thing. Can you see where are they? Can you see the blue lights blinking?
Yeah.
Okay. This keyboard will operate up to 3 different devices by hitting one of those 3 keys. So I have it set up to operate on set 1. I have 2 iMacs over here. So one iMac, hit the second button, and it connects to the second iMac. Hit the third one, and I can connect it to an iPad, to this MacBook Pro laptop, or anything else, anything that will take a Bluetooth keyboard. Connection time takes about 3 to 4 seconds between times, but that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. And it certainly beats trying to have 3 keyboards sitting around for 3 different devices. And, I don't spend any money on batteries. I think it's about $69, $70. And, I love it. It feels very similar to Apple's keyboard in, the feel and throw of the keys. It's probably about the same noise level, too. It's not like one of those machine gun keyboards that Adam Angst uses. So it's fairly quiet. But you use one of the machine guns, too, Kelly?
I do. I actually have a couple of them I'm testing, but yeah, you can hear the... Yeah, it makes me really happy.
See, I don't know.
Just me. I can only use it when I'm here by myself, but yeah.
And I don't know if you can hear it because I'm tapping it too, but it's not nearly as loud as that. So great little device if you have multiple things around, or if you want a keyboard for an iPad or even your iPhone to sit on the desk beside you. Just hit the button and go live back and forth between them with just a couple second delay, and it works. So that's my second round pick.
Do you use that a lot with an iPad?
I have it set up with the iPad. Honestly, no, Michael, but I don't use any keyboard with my iPad a lot. So I can if I have the iPad set up and want to do some significant data entry, but if I'm doing that, then I'll just do it on the Mac and, send it across the transporter to the device.
Yeah, I've been thinking about a keyboard for my iPad now, especially since I'm headed back to school. And I have a cousin who he brought his laptop with him when he went out of state to college, and he found that he never brought it to class. He always just brought his iPad that had an integrated keyboard in the case, and just use that the whole time. And, I love taking notes and pages, but, I wonder if especially because my laptop it's a 17-inch MacBook Pro, it's a beast to take around with me, especially with books. So I'm thinking about a keyboard case for my iPad. Which one's that?
I think Chuck.
This doesn't count as a pick, right? No. This is also Logitech, and it's their
Plus
keyboard
one.
cover case. So it's not it's not a full case for the iPad. It's just a cover. The iPad goes in here and works just like a smart cover. It clicks in, turns it on and off, whether you lift it up or not. The iPad rests in here. And the reason I like this better than the portfolio cases with keyboards in them is I hate that kind of rubberized texture, squishy, tiny keyboard.
Yeah.
Whereas this is almost full-size keys, very much like the Apple keyboard. You still, get that nice kind of click to it. This is not solar powered, but it is rechargeable by mini USB port, and the battery lasts for
forever.
Yeah, they say 6 months on a charge, and I've had this longer than that and have not had to recharge it yet.
So it's the ultimate keyboard cover?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have one for an iPad 3. I got it last Christmas, and I love it. It's how I did Macworld last year and MacTech this year, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. And it works with the shell that you already have. This is the other thing I like about it. I have a setup like you do on my old iPad, and so to snap it together, you can just leave it there. You pop it off the smart cover hinge, and you set it in the groove, and you're off to the races. It's phenomenal.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, between $75 and $100, you can find some deals online, or
and they do make an Air version.
Yeah,
cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, and I think, Kelly, you said it, that would work with Michael's existing cover too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's very nice, and that would be a nice thin setup.
Yeah.
Even if you just use it to protect the iPad.
Yeah, with the Air, I don't know, but the nice thing about it is that it's also not super thick. That's sort of the other thing about some of the other keyboard cases that I've looked at, because I looked at a lot of them before I settled on one. And that would be my first choice for an iPad. My second choice would be if you were to do just use your straight up Apple keyboard and get a I think it's the origami workstation. Like, it wraps around your keyboard, but then it's got the little prop up where you can set your iPad. So you just use the same keyboard, but then it doesn't matter like what device you hook up. So like in a pinch, if you need your iPhone, your iPad battery died or whatever, you can just drop it on the stand and then type away with your straight Apple keyboard.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cases and keyboards. This edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Smile, the makers of the brand new PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, as well as PDF Pen, PDF Pen Pro, PDF Pen for iPhone, PDF Pen for iPad, Text Expander Touch, and Disk Label. Find out more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. Folks, at this point I usually tell you about one or two of Smile's great products and how they help you get the most out of your Mac or iDevice and be more productive. This time, however, I want to tell you about an issue that they faced and how they handled it. You may know about Text Expander Touch and how it syncs with the desktop version of Text Expander to let you use your snippets on your iDevices in supported programs. Smile found an ingenious way to work around the iOS app limitations by having third-party developers build support for Text Expander Touch into their programs. And a whole lot did, because Smile made it easy and because there was such a demand for compatibility with such a great product. Then, a couple weeks ago, Apple informed Smile that their workaround would no longer be allowed and told them the software had to be changed immediately. Never mind why, that's not the point here. The point is that the team at Smile worked like crazy, found a way around the problem again, and have released Text Expander Touch 2.3. Yes, it requires a click on your part, but that's the price of continuing to have the Text Expander functionality. They also released a software development kit, or SDK, so that third-party developers could implement the fix in their programs and get the Text Expander Touch capabilities back. All that in just a couple weeks. And perhaps most impressive, they've been completely transparent about the issue throughout the process, culminating in a very direct, professional blog post on their website. No whining, no complaining, no casting of blame, just the facts. What happened, the steps taken to correct it, and information about what to expect from third-party developers. I encourage you to read it, then read it again, then read it one more time. Not for the details, but for the class they've shown in a difficult time and the dedication to their customers and to their product. Too bad we don't have more developers like this who focus on solutions rather than blame. Smile is a sponsor of MacVoices, and I'm very proud to have them as a sponsor of MacVoices, and to call Gene McDonald, Philip Goward, and Greg Scown my friends, because we need more developers and more people like them in the Apple community. If you agree, don't tell me. Tell them on their website at smilesoftware.com or on Twitter at smilesoftware. Thanks to Smile for everything. Okay, so for round 3, let's mix it up a little bit. We'll go in a completely different direction. Let Michael start this one off.
Sure. So my third pick is the Sports Band by Jaybird. It is a Bluetooth headset. I think this is the original one, but they might be on the second or third generation. But I love this. It's so great to have wireless headphones. If you haven't yet experienced wireless headphones, it's night and day. I hate having wires on my headphones now. And this is specifically made for working out, like running. And I've run with many different pairs of headphones. The Apple included headset is absolutely worthless for it because they fall right out of your ears. Plus the cables bouncing up and down. A lot of other Bluetooth headphones typically fall out of your ears, and so that's why I would definitely recommend an over-the-ear pair like this. They do a lot of really nice things, like they tweak the EQ just slightly so that you don't get strain from listening to music for a extended period of time. So they bring down the treble just a little bit and make it nice so you can get pumped and go do your run with them. But I wear them all the time, just around the house or wherever. And the battery works great. It lasts for a long time. And one of my favorite things about this pair in particular is that the controls are right on the side. So if you're working with a pair of little earbud style headphones, it's really tough a lot of times to actuate all the controls on it. One of them is pretty easy to use, but a bunch of the rest don't work as well. This one, you have forward and back at the top, and then volume up down at the bottom, and there's your power / play pause, and it's just totally solid. I've had these for several years, and I would definitely recommend the new version that they have out. It might be a little bit better in terms of battery quality or sound quality, but I mean it's excellent. It's $100 for the Jaybird Sports Band. They also have another pair that I also have. It's the JF3 Freedoms. These are the earbud style. I don't like them as much, but if you really want, earbud style wireless, these are cool too. But I would recommend highly the Sports Band.
Michael, whenever I hear somebody talk about anything to go out, put in there and listen to music when they're running or out and about, I get concerned about how much of the outside world they're blocking out. Can you hear the world around you as well as the music, or are you sort of making a choice between one and the other?
I would say more so you're making that choice with the in-ear, the earbud ones. With the Sports Band, it's not so much. But the great benefit with these is, sometimes I'm listening to a podcast while I'm cooking or something, and maybe someone wants to say something to me, and I can hear them, saying something to me, and it's really easy to just move them off my ear and hear what they're saying. So, but I've definitely felt very comfortable out running. I mean, I don't run on a track. I always run out in the streets in my neighborhood. So I've never felt uncomfortable wearing those, and always felt like I was aware of the traffic.
Good. That's always a concern.
Yeah.
Okay, good pick. Good pick. Kelly, how about if we move across to you and let you take number 2 on this round?
So I'm going to choose something that I think is one of those very specific things, but it solves a problem that a lot of people have. So all of us are Mac users, and we all have probably a laptop, and that laptop has a power brick, and everybody's power brick looks exactly the same, and everybody's set of white little headphones looks exactly the same, and your 30-pin cable that you hand over to somebody because, or your lightning cable, that's $30 a whack, and if it doesn't get back to you, that's a problem. So to fix that, there's this really awesome little dealie called Bowie Tags, and they're red and white, and you get 3 of them for $12. And this is basically, here you go, exactly what it says on the tin. They've got larger one for the laptop cable, and then the smaller ones for these. And then I didn't close the box all the way so I could take out and show you. You don't have to keep them red if you don't want to, and you don't have to keep those initials on them, like the B and the T are sort of slick if you want to be, if you're trying to advertise that they're Bowie Tags. But hopefully, there we go. That was me tap dancing while I tried to get the box open. They come with all these little stickers that you can customize the ones that you have. So if you're not me, who likes to have everything be red and white, then maybe you don't want to use the red piece, and then you can use one of these other ones, and you can put your initials in, and they've got a template you can download and put other stuff in there if you want to. So if it's company equipment, if you're a corporate IT person and you need to make sure everything's got a logo on it, you can do that too. And they're super awesome. You get 3 of them for $12, and it makes it so that you can mark things as your own, but you also don't have to worry about what happens if that were to come off. Like a lot of people will put a sticker on their power brick, and you use your power brick enough, it gets warm, and then the adhesive, and then ew. And so this helps get around that. And so I think that's super, super useful. And like I said, $12, you get 3 of them, and it can fix a problem that a lot of people have.
Nice stocking stuffer. Very good. Chuck, round 3.
Sure. Well, everybody has an aunt who gives them something, really kind of boring and traditional for the holidays, right? So in my case, it was gloves. So I always get gloves in my stocking. So this year you can be the cool aunt, and you can give high-tech gloves. So these are by a company called Marmot, who does a lot of outdoor gear, and they're nice. They're very thin, but it's a good insulating material. Keeps you nice and warm, but still flexible enough where you can actually do things, right? But the cool thing about it is it's got capacitive material in the thumb and the forefinger. So when you're out and about in the winter, you can still use the touchscreen of your iPhone or iPad without having to take your gloves off to use it. So very handy. This is about $30, but there are different kinds now all over the place. You can shop around. I do like the Marmots, though. They also have a rubberized material on the palm so that helps keep your phone from slipping out of your hand. So that's very useful too. So Marmot Connect. If you want to be the coolest aunt though with gloves, you give something else. And that's called the High Fun, High Call gloves. Now, these again have that capacitive material so you can use your phone without having to take your gloves off. But these are Bluetooth gloves, Chuck.
Bluetooth gloves.
So you can
There is.
The cool aunt wishes to know more about Bluetooth gloves.
You can talk to the hand. So you pair the gloves with your phone, and there is a speaker in the thumb, and there's a microphone in the pinky.
Oh, no.
So once you do that, you hold your hand up like this.
So awesome.
And you say, hello, and you can have a full phone call. It's even got a little micro USB charging port on here. Controls, these little dots are controls, so you can answer the call or hang up, and you get an indicator light that shows you're connected. And I've had more fun with these things, having conversations on the street and watching people just give me the funniest looks than I can tell you. It works with voice command too, voice control. So you activate it, you pair it with your phone, you get the connection, and then you can say, call Chuck Joyner, and your phone in your pocket or wherever it may be will dutifully call Chuck Joyner, and we can have a conversation like this, and it's terrific.
Do they also make shoes?
That's the Maxwell Smart Edition, right?
Chuck, how's the sound quality?
It's remarkably good. I mean, you may have to play a little bit to get the speaker in just the right spot in your thumb, from your thumb to your ear. But once you find that sweet spot, the call clarity is very good. I've used it on busy streets with a lot of traffic and still have been able to hear who was calling me. Person on the other end didn't know that I was talking to them through a glove. It was just a regular phone call as far as they were concerned. They're made by an Italian company. They come in a variety of colors, and you can get them for anywhere from $65 to $70.
Commuters.
Very good.
Yeah, Chuck, I mean, they sound silly. I know, and when you're talking like this, it looks silly. But the idea of not having to take your gloves off, fumble for your phone through your pockets or under your coat and all that kind of stuff, it's really very practical. So you can be practical and fun.
Chuck, do me a favor. Put them on. Put them both on for me. There's one. For the audio listeners, there's two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Kelly, you do a comic book podcast, right?
Yeah.
Don't you feel like he has the Batman vibe going a little bit with the black shirt and the black
a little
gloves
bit,
and everything? Yeah.
Yeah, I could get that. What's on your belt, Chuck?
Yeah.
And as soon as I'm wearing a belt, Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
We're only from the waist up on this show.
We're back to the commando discussion. Oh, God. Okay, moving on quickly.
I get my fashion tips from Jeff Gamet.
Yeah.
I was just going to say there's a Jeff joke in here somewhere because he's on the comic podcast with me. So.
Well, one thing I've noticed about the MacBook Airs and the MacBook Pros, as they become thinner, they've also been pretty affordable, but you start to lose capacity. Of storage capacity, and yet they have that nice, bright, shiny Thunderbolt port on there. But Thunderbolt accessories seem to be perceived as being a bit expensive. So I'm going to suggest that if you need external storage that you're willing to carry along, you maybe don't need it all the time, but at those times you do. The Seagate, I want to make sure I get it right, Seagate GoFlex 1 terabyte Thunderbolt drive. This is a bus-powered drive, so you have no power brick to go with it. You just plug the Thunderbolt port in, or cable in, and you've got 1 terabyte of pretty darn fast storage for your laptop.
Oh.
Obviously not as fast as a desktop because there's a 5400 RPM drive in there instead of a 7200. But comparatively speaking, and of course Thunderbolt for me makes all the difference. USB 3 is great. Thunderbolt just takes it to a whole new level. So it's only $170 for 1 terabyte, and that's 1 T with a terabyte. So you've got a lot of storage that you can take along with you and have quick access to it. You don't need it for movies, but it's kind of nice to have. But it's really more for those times when you're moving a lot of data on and off. Maybe you're traveling and want to do a quick backup of your machine. Worse, maybe you want to carry a backup of your machine should something happen to the machine and you need to get a new one, then you have a full setup. Whatever the scenario, just having 1 terabyte for $170 in a portable package is really very, very nice. So check it out. Seagate GoFlex Thunderbolt. Is there anybody that's happy with the storage on their devices? Anybody burn it out?
Mine, actually.
You what?
I'm happy with my storage.
All right. Okay. Well, each to their own.
I am, but there's a NAS in there, so that's why.
I should clarify that I do have a Drobo next to me with 2 terabytes of space. So.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, this is for the guy on the go. I mean, this might even apply more to Chuck than anybody else, because I know he spends a lot of time on the road.
Yeah, I do. I'm finding that cloud storage in one way or another does a pretty good job for me right now. And I just got a new MacBook Air, so I haven't filled it up yet. But as I do, I'll start looking into that.
Yeah, I love all the cloud stuff, Chuck, but I still have this little thing about bandwidth. You know that if you're in a hotel and you have terrible bandwidth, you have a problem. If you're trying to get big stuff down, now if it's just the odd spreadsheet or several documents, it's not an issue. But if you're trying to pull big stuff, you're at the mercy of either paying too much for a MiFi style card or paying at the hotel or whatever. So.
Yep.
Guys, I think we have time for one more round if you're up for it.
Sure.
Okay. So how about if I send it back around the other direction, and Chuck, we'll let you start this time.
Sure. Oh, I don't know. One more. Where do I go? You know what? I'm going to go with the big ticket item that I can't actually show you because it's sitting upstairs on my desktop, and that's the Fujitsu Scansnap IX500. And Chuck, you turned me on to this. You made me a convert into this kind of desktop scanning. Is that one in the back there?
It's right back there.
Okay, good. So everybody look at Chuck's. Mine's black, but otherwise I'm sure they're exactly the same. On my desk, I had a stack of papers that was probably this thick of receipts and invoices and all sorts of stuff that I was going to file later. I would get around to it, and what would happen is, it would get to the point where I couldn't find anything anymore. I couldn't even use my desk. I'd put them all on a ShopRite bag, grocery bag, and just bundle up together and just throw it in a corner of my basement until it was 2 or 3 years later and I felt it was safe. I could throw them out, but it doesn't do me any good, right? So I got the Scansnap. I always want to say SnapScan, but it's Scansnap a few months ago and started tackling that pile. And I found it just completely addictive. The idea of getting all these papers in and getting rid of them and then being able to shred them and lose them once and for all. And of having all of this stuff now instantly accessible at my fingertips, should I want it, or if I want to go back and reference it. And I actually look at these things more often, so they're of more use to me now than they would be folded up in thirds somewhere in the back of my desk. The Scansnap is just physically remarkable. It scans both sides of the paper at the same time. It can distinguish between all sorts of different paper sizes at once. You don't have to scan all your 8.5 by 11s in one shot and all your, maybe smaller papers or business cards in another. It can take care of that for you on the fly. It does OCR so that you can search things by keyword down the road if you want. It has software that's probably not not Apple quality software, but does the job, and I'm kind of learning my way around it. But if you don't like the software, there's another company that makes a similar product called Neat. And the way it's always been described to me is Neat is a software company that bundles hardware with their product, and Fujitsu is a hardware company that bundles software with their product. So the nice thing about Neat software is it's free. So if you want, you can take Neat software, use it with your Fujitsu Scansnap, and have the best of both worlds, in my opinion. So I'm really happy with it. It is the priciest thing on my list this year. It runs about $500, although maybe you can find a little bit better price online. But just in terms of being organized and helping me get out from under that weight of paper, it's just a marvelous device. I'm tremendously happy with it. And I find that once it's all gone, once I cleared out that big mass to begin with, it's a lot easier to do it as you go and to prevent it from building up again on you. So that's my last pick.
Chuck, I think I'm going to change my last pick to help you with that, but I'll hold off till the end. So you changed my pick on me.
Thank you.
Kelly, how about you for your last pick?
So I actually don't have anything to hold up either, but it's because I always think that this is a really great gift. Subscriptions to things. Like I use Evernote. I have a free Evernote account, and then I bought the subscription, and I really, really like it. And the nice thing about buying somebody a gift subscription, particularly like a service that you already know that they use, or maybe that they should use, like if you're the family tech support, you can buy your parents a Crash Plan account, or Carbonite or Backblaze or whatever the online one is. Or if you know somebody who takes a lot of pictures and really likes Dropbox, you can buy them additional space for a year. Or you can buy Netflix, if you happen to have somebody on your Christmas list who is in fact the last person in America to not have a Netflix account, you can hook them up. The reason that I like some of this stuff is because a lot of my family, particularly at Christmas time, tends to not be anywhere near me, and this is the easiest way for me to buy them something that they will probably enjoy and definitely use, is to be able to send them something digital. So even you can do an Amazon card or iTunes money, App Store money, things like that. You can do those sorts of things too. But for me, the thing that I like about the subscription services is that, like I said, it's instant, and I don't have to actually go to the post office and put something in a box and ship it to them. So I don't actually have a good example for any of these, except it's getting to be time for me to re-up my Evernote account. So that's probably something I'm going to hint around the house about. But I think that kind of stuff is always a really good idea, particularly if it's something that you know they already have. So like if you've I set my mom up with Evernote just recently, and I'm trying to get her in the habit of putting stuff there, because the more stuff that's there, the more useful it's going to be to her. And so maybe next Christmas, once she's been using Evernote for a while and really likes it and has added a lot of things, then I can upgrade her to Pro, and she can do all kinds of additional stuff with it then in the future. And software is another good example of something that you can do that way. You can't gift apps you own in the Mac App Store. So if there's another option for you to purchase something that you can send to someone, or you can send them an iTunes card and say, here's $25, go buy OmniFocus, or here's $50, go buy 1Password, or go buy Angry Birds, even stuff like that. It gives you an easy way to give somebody who maybe you want to get a gift for, but don't necessarily, like, they're high enough on your list that they rate a gift, but they're not necessarily high enough that you need to go to the post office for that person. Then this is a good way to give them a present. So
I could ask how you categorize those people, but I don't think we better do that. No, I love this idea, Kelly. Now, I didn't really think about it, but if I stop and think, there are a lot of services a lot of music subscription services you could give as a gift. Of course, Dropbox, Evernote. You really have to sort of stop, because they've all become part of our lives, and you sort of forget about them. You just reach up and use them. And yeah, why not give that? In fact, that's, in a lot of ways, that's better than an iTunes gift card for music, or gifting an album. Just gift a year subscription, or even, I don't know if they sell 6-month subscriptions, but whatever you could do.
Yeah, and depending on the service, you can buy different levels of what it is, so that also helps, like, budgetarily. So maybe you can only get 6 months of Spotify because that's what the budget number is for somebody. But you still have that option of being able to do that. And I think, and that's another piece of giving a service that I think is really useful.
Great. Thank you. Good pick. Michael, I believe that leaves you to the fourth round.
Yeah. So my pick is going to be for the space nerd, and it is some software. It's a game, actually. It's called Kerbal Space Program. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. I'm trying to show a trailer of it here. I don't know if you guys can see it at all. But basically, the idea of the game is that you create your own space program. So you start off, you're in a completely different solar system. It's the Kerbin solar system, I think it is. And you're on the planet Kerbin. And you're a bunch of little green guys known as Kerbals. And you start off by building a rocket. And it's just like a bunch of different interchangeable parts. So you put a fuel tank out, and then you put some engines on it, and then you put a capsule on top, and then you launch it and try and get it into space. And the cool thing about it is it uses, I think it's the Unity engine. So it has tons of real physics in it. So in the way that it is very hard to get something off of the Earth into space, it is also very hard to get something off into space in this game. I say hard, but it's really a challenge. And once you get there, I mean, that's your first challenge. But once you do it, and this is a sandbox style game right now, once you learn how to get into orbit, you can build a space station up there, so you can fly up multiple missions and link things together and build a giant space station. You can create something like a giant Saturn V style rocket that will send you from Kerbin all the way to Kerbel's moon, and put a lander down on it, and you can walk around and do all those fun things. There's an entire solar system there, so you can actually send it to whatever the Kerbin Mars is, and it just gets more and more challenging the further out you want to go, because then you have to do interplanetary, orbit changes and all that stuff. I mean, it does involve a lot of math, not necessarily if you don't want to. You don't have to use any math at all. You can just kind of point it in the direction you think is right and see what happens. And that's kind of the most fun way to get started with it. But as you go, you start thinking, well, I could be more precise with this. And so you can, actually look at the instruments that you have and actually figure out how to do the transfers correctly. And the really, really cool thing about this game is that it's extremely extensible. There's a huge community around it, so you can download different parts. You can download different capsules and engines and all these different things. You can download utilities that help you with getting to these different places. So it says, if you want to get your spacecraft to such and such planet, then you have to blast off at this particular time, and then you need to do this kind of orbital maneuver to get there, and then it'll send you off in that direction. And it's incredibly fun, very, very addicting, very time-consuming too, if you get into it. I don't play a lot of games. Typically, the games that I play are ones that have really good storylines, like Portal and Half-Life and that sort of thing. And really this, because it does have a real challenge to it. And like I said, you can just point your rocket in the direction you think you want to go and start going at it. And you'll probably get to orbit, and then eventually, as you keep going, you'll want to get more and more precise with it and figure out, when's the best time to, turn your rocket to go, start making, giving horizontal velocity. And there are autopilot modules you can download, so it can be less difficult to actually get the thing into space, and you can focus more on just building crazy giant rockets that do insane things. You can build space planes, so planes that actually take off horizontally and then end up going into space. I mean, just anything that you can think of. It's a giant physics engine with a focus on flying and going into space. So it's really fun, and it's about $27 if you buy it from kerbalispaceprogram.com. It's also available in Steam. And actually, the reason I decided to pick this is based on the suggestion of giving someone a gift of a subscription. Because last year I gave this to someone else, and I thought that was really cool. And they did too. It's actually $18. It's 33% off in Steam. So if you want to buy someone this in Steam, if they have a Steam account, this would be a great gift. And it's never ending, because it's a sandbox game. But they do plan to get a multiplayer, or not a multiplayer, but a campaign version of the game going. It's an alpha still. And it's been around for 2, maybe 3 years. They've been just continually developing it. I mean, they have extremely grand visions for this thing, and that's why it's still alpha, even though it's very, very playable.
I love this. I love this because it sounds like it's educational without beating education over the head, and you aren't required to necessarily blow anything up, with the possible exception of a rocket that wasn't successful.
Oh, you're definitely going to blow up a lot of stuff in this game.
Well, but it's not required, maybe. How's that?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is I saw an interview with the creators of this game, and they were talking about the fact that they get emails from people all the time talking about, typically kids who have started playing this game, and they say, you know what, before playing this game, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I decided that I wanted to get into being an engineer or what have you. I want to get into this stuff because this is so cool and it's so true to life. I want to learn how to do this for real and actually, build rockets. And like I said, the community is huge. There's a guy that I watch all the time, Scott Manley, who is an actual rocket scientist who makes videos regularly on either how to build certain rockets to do certain things, or busting certain myths, like can you change the orbit of the moon if you put a rocket on there and you burn it for 100 hours or what have you, or can you actually get to the speed of light in the game? And he does really interesting things too. So it's a fun game for so many reasons, and you can get into it and focus on so many different aspects of it. It's really fun.
Great, thank you. That's probably the first intriguing thing I've heard in games for quite some time.
Yeah.
Good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to help Chuck out with my last pick because I've been there and I know exactly what you mean. The Scansnap is amazing. It's fantastic. It's wonderful, but it's you sort of have to develop your own method of what you scan and how you file it and all that. It comes with some suggestions, but I'm going to suggest that you and everybody out there who's interested in this go and get a copy of DevonThink Pro Office. It's difficult to explain DevonThink Pro Office, but I think for purposes of this part of the discussion, if you took iTunes, turned it into a document manager so that it's organizing and sorting and creating playlists, if you will, of documents instead of songs, put it on steroids so it goes up, about 400%. That is DevonThink Pro Office. And it's compatible with the Scansnap. In fact, it has the hooks built right in. So all you have to do is switch it over. You're going to scan right into DevonThink Pro Office. And then it starts to organize, or will help you organize your documents.
I'm writing it down right now.
Good. Well, then there's a second piece to this pick, okay? Because as good as DevonThink Pro Office is, it is not lightweight software. It's pretty heavy duty, and there is just a little bit of a learning curve. Remember about the steroids part. So when you go to buy that, take control of DevonThink Pro Office by Joe Kissel. Because anything Joe tells me to do, I listen to. Mm-hmm. And that is the book that will help you get set up for this kind of scanning, organize. He has tips in there about the whole going paperless thing, naming conventions so that once you scan something, you can find it again and it all stays organized. It's a very powerful combination of software and instruction, and it's the kind of instruction that is practical. It's not theoretical. It's like, okay, look, I've tested it out. Here are a couple workflows. Here's the one that's best. And if you follow Joe's advice, you're just going to love the Scansnap that much more. You really are.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
But it's funny, you said it, Chuck, real well. It's addictive. It almost becomes fun to scan things and get them off your desk.
Yep.
And now that I'm putting them in DevonThink Pro Office, I can feel like I can find them again.
Yeah. It's liberating.
Yes. Yes. Well, guys, that's yet another nice, diverse set of picks. Thank you so much for taking the time and for doing the research and sharing some of your favorites.
You're welcome.
You're totally welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I hope everyone here has a great holiday. The holiday we're recording right before, of course, is Thanksgiving, but Christmas is coming up. So happy holidays, whatever you celebrate, to everybody here and everybody out there. And we'll see you again next time on the MacJury.
Happy Hanukkah tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Okay. So, well, like I said, happy whatever. Chuck Tournous, Kelly Guimont, and Michael Johnston, thank you for this edition of the MacJury. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Folks, I'll have links in the show notes to everything we picked so that you can go and find it easily. and reach it and hopefully buy it with just 1 or 2 clicks so you can have it in time for your holiday celebration. Until the next time, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, app.net, Google+, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date with all the latest MacVoices news from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at BackbeatMedia.com.